Hey guys, Marcingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. And so I made a video the other day talking about the ROF Blues and whether or not they would potentially receive an EZA during this celebration before the celebration fully comes to a close, due to a couple of different factors. Obviously the fact that, you know, these guys got the burst mode for their Dokkan event. We've already got the EZA for the AGL Golden Frieza, who is their part 2 unit. A couple of different things pointing towards the potential for them getting an EZA, especially because this celebration has largely been themed around movie bosses, considering that the Frieza and Gogeta have movie bosses and movie heroes as a lead. And to be fair, their banner unit was the Coke Vegeta, who's a movie heroes character. But all of the EZAs have been for movie bosses, and we've gotten missions for both movie heroes and movie bosses categories for all of the new stages. But yeah, aside from, like, obviously the new unit, Frieza and Gogeta, being on both, we haven't really had any new, like, premium upgrades for movie heroes. So I think that's still a possibility, still on the table. We could find out in the next couple of days, because we know we've got new Red Zone stages coming out on Monday. But yeah, we will have to wait and see. But there are a couple of other EZAs that have not happened that I think a lot of people were kind of waiting for or very much expecting when it came to this celebration. We talked about a few of these on the stream last night, so I wanted to go through those here in this video. So obviously let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit that like button on the video. What do you think about these EZAs? Do you think we will see them anytime soon? But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in, because the two big ones that someone in chat mentioned, I believe it was Weeble Class, shout out to our boy, is we got these two free-to-play units from the Broly story event. Now, back when the celebration was about to start, and we had some information in the files about various things that were upcoming, there was the thing where I think it was I think Proton, it was something in the files that was either a mistake or just looked like it was something that it wasn't. But we saw the event ID for, I think actually other people just assumed, because the event ID matches up to a certain stage. But we knew that there was a story event that was getting a revamp into a DB story, which obviously ended up being the Lone Warrior Bardock event. And a lot of people had assumed, especially with the theme of the celebration as we understood it at the time, that it would be this Broly story event. And therefore these two units would finally get their EZA with that event being updated. And then of course it ended up to not be that event at all. And so these guys are still just left in limbo, essentially. And you know, these guys came out, that story event released, so JP December 2018, Global February 2019. So even on Global, these units are 6.5 years old, and they're yet to get any form of upgrade. I mean, I guess it probably goes hand in hand that these units won't get upgraded until that event does actually get a revamp and get upgraded into a DB story. It makes sense that they would just do both of those things like at the same time. But obviously we have no idea when that's going to happen, because the thing when it comes to these kind of EZAs and stuff like that, it's the question of, like, did Dokkan just forget about these units? Because think about the number of times now that we've had stuff related to Dragon Ball Super Broly in the last like 6.5 years, which funnily enough, it hasn't been as much as you might think, right? When we got the Broly and Gogeta as part of the 9th anniversary, it had been a while since any other stuff had released for that movie. And so of course we went through this same prediction cycle, I guess you could call it, during the 9th anniversary, where when it became apparent that, you know, the first characters were Broly and Gogeta, a lot of people then assumed that these guys would get their EZA then. And then of course that didn't happen. So the problem is, like, when will these guys EZA? Because I mean, Frieza, you could EZA him technically during any sort of like Wicked Bloodline campaign. I guess technically any transformation boost extreme character, because he is a transformation boost lead. But he's a movie boss's support character. So this is like the perfect celebration for him to get an EZA, because he supports the main team that has been buffed in this celebration. And then the free-to-play Broly is like a free-to-play movie boss's leader. Very, very basic in terms of kit, but obviously could be decently upgraded with an EZA. So it just seems odd that once again we've had a celebration that is somewhat themed around the Broly movie, and we're not going to get the EZAs for these. I mean, at this point, these guys are the oldest Broly movie units in the game, right? That don't have an EZA or anything like that. So a little bit strange that these guys seem to have been missed. Now, again, the celebration isn't completely over. So even just by the end of the weekend, because a lot of the time there's EZA announcements and stuff like that on a Sunday morning. For me in the UK in terms of time, so like late Saturday evening if you're in the US. Often EZAs or things like that get announced on Twitter at that time. So that is less than 24 hours from now. So I guess there is the potential for something like that to be shown in the next, like within the next 24 hours. But I guess we will have to wait and see, because the celebration is going to be ending very soon, usually in terms of the timeline for the next release before the sync, obviously, so we know things have changed quite a bit. We can't really make the same predictions that we would in a normal year, but the celebration usually ends by the end of the month, and we get a new summonable unit like in the last couple of days of September. So the next potential celebration with the next filler like Dokkan Fest is potentially starting you know, within the next 10 days. So there could still be one final thing for the celebration, but it just feels like these guys have been forgotten again, which is odd, because like I say, unless we get another Dragon Ball Super Broly movie celebration, I don't see them fitting these guys in, which is unfortunate. The other big one that a lot of people really expected to see was the Super EZA for Tech Golden Frieza. This guy is in line for a Super EZA because he's from the same selection of characters as the AGL Kaioken Goku that got his Super EZA during Golden Week. So obviously he's, you know, it's not one of those things where it's too early, right? Like he's in line to get one and he fits the theme of the celebration. I mean, because he's a movie boss, technically he is from Resurrection F, but I mean, they EZA'd the AGL Golden Frieza, and it's not like they haven't EZA'd him because they EZA'd the AGL Golden Frieza, because how many times recently have we gotten like same name units getting EZAs, or like same name as the character as the new character that just released getting an EZA, so then we end up getting flooded with options of characters that have the same name. So I was definitely very surprised to not see this guy's Super EZA, but again, we could see an announcement within the next couple of days, because I think it would be good to have this guy getting a Super EZA. He has always been a solid defensive unit. I mean, with his EZA, he doesn't have the like losing damage reduction or anything like the AGL Golden Frieza. So if he gets like a decent amount of start of turn defense, even if they don't increase his damage reduction, 80% damage reduction, as long as you're above 50% HP, puts him in a position of being able to tank a lot of the big attacks in the game. Now, obviously, his Super EZA will be really interesting because these older units like him and like the 70% leads that we've got most of their EZAs now, because Super EZAs don't change the super attack effect, this guy just does immense damage and massively lowers defense, which means in his passive, not only would he have to have like a decent amount of start of turn defense, but his passive would have to have something like when attacking, you know, like 100% attack and defense or something, because that's, they can't put it into his super attack effect. But that's also beneficial for him because when attacking buffs are some of the bigger buffs, right, because they're multiplicative. So that could mean he could be in a situation where post super attack he would be tanking even some of the biggest like attacks in the game, which obviously would be very, very good. So like I said, I think at the start of the celebration, I said I'd be really surprised if we got to the end of this celebration and this guy didn't Super EZA. So I guess maybe I am poised to be very surprised, because like I say, unless we get that news soon, haven't seen anything about it yet. So I guess we will have to wait and see. Now, the other big thing that I wanted to address that people have asked about, I keep seeing people saying about it, is the Tech, Birdcoo, and the STR Cooler. Now, obviously, these guys, people want their EZAs. You know, to a certain extent, it does make sense for the celebration because of the fact that the celebration has been buffing movie heroes and movie bosses. I've seen a lot of people say they don't want these guys EZAs yet because they don't have a great team set up, like, ready for them, which I can kind of see because, like, Cooler, especially with the new team, with like Frieza and Gogeta and all the new Golden Frieza stuff, like the AGL Golden Frieza EZA, all the Broly EZAs, the current, like, I guess currently as of right now, best build of the movie bosses team doesn't really feature a lot of characters that have big bad bosses. So obviously if this guy got his EZA now, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, if his EZA is good, obviously he would still be a good addition to the team, and I am very much hoping that his EZA is good. On release, this guy, like, was instantly my favourite unit in the game. It was super, super fun to use. So, if his EZA is good, it doesn't really matter, I guess, that he's not going to have big bad bosses active on certain team setups, but I can see what people are saying, right, where he doesn't really fit into the team super well. Obviously with the shenanigans sometimes with the Golden Frieza and Gogeta and them not necessarily always being the best slot 1 character, like, this guy needs a really strong slot 1 character to go with because he himself is not a slot 1 unit, right? So I could kind of see it. When it comes to this guy though, like, obviously his EZA could be very interesting. I don't know if he's on many of the team, like, he's not on because he's not Future Saga or Fused Fighter, obviously he's not Super Boss, like, he's not really on any of the GDC teams. So in terms of, like, the current big teams, he is on Exploding Rage, which is kind of funny, because could make an interesting slot 1 unit for the new Wrathful Broly team. But this guy's EZA, definitely really looking forward to. He is, like, the #1 unit that needs to get the upgrade for this revival ability, where it will be when he or any other ally gets their revival, then he would still get his buffs, which I would be absolutely shocked if they don't do that when this guy gets his EZA, right? Like, he absolutely needs to get that upgrade, which I think he will. I don't think they'll overlook that. That would be kind of crazy. But yeah, this guy has the potential to be really, really good. But getting back to the main point, even though these guys are a movie hero and a movie boss character, the one thing that makes me feel like we're not going to see their EZAs just yet is, obviously, if we go back and look at the worldwide units from the year before, which was obviously the Namek Goku and the Full Power Frieza, these guys EZA'd during the 10th anniversary. So whilst obviously it's not necessarily the case, because Dokkan does change things up all the time, Dokkan seems to follow certain patterns for a certain amount of time and then just does something different completely out of the blue without any prior notice. But with the fact that these previous worldwide units EZA'd during the anniversary, I feel like we probably will be waiting until the anniversary in order to see these guys get their EZAs. And that could potentially fit in decently well with whatever the anniversary units are going to be. Obviously, the new anniversary headliners giving these guys new big 220% lead teams would obviously be very good. Because I know one of the big things that people were expecting to see is, like, Daima Goku finally coming. Because I feel like, you know, they've waited so long that maybe the anniversary is where they're finally planning to drop this guy. So if he has anything in his leader skill along the lines of, like, full power, Kamehameha, potentially powerful comeback, obviously, like, Earthred Fighters, Earth Protecting Heroes, like, this guy would end up on their team. And then if we are getting a Goma or something like that, I guess for him it would be things like Transformation Boost, maybe Terrifying Conquerors, Final Trump card. But I guess it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I feel like these guys are not going to get their EZAs until during the 11th anniversary. But obviously let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But yeah, I don't think we'll see these guys anytime soon. Maybe the Golden Frieza, because he's not from the actual Broly movie, even though he is a movie boss character, maybe they'll wait for a celebration like when they're going to eventually EZA the physical Frieza from the Tournament of Power. Maybe at some point we are just going to finally get a new Frieza, and then these couple of guys will EZA in order to go with him for his team at that time. But the biggest one for me that's still just very surprising is the fact that these guys appear to be completely forgotten about. And at the end of the day, they are free-to-play characters, right? So even if they do get their EZA announced and their EZA comes out in a couple of days' time, we're not necessarily even expecting them to be anything particularly crazy. But, I mean, this guy could be good with a good EZA. Like, he was decent on release for a free-to-play character. Like, he's got damage reduction, he builds up defense, and he supports the team that you want to run him on. So, like, with a decent EZA, this guy could end up being a runnable free-to-play option for that team. So I guess we just have to wait and see. You know, maybe we will eventually see these guys EZA. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be a case of they will do the like they will update the story event, and that's when these guys will get their EZA. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section for any and all of these EZAs. Which ones are you most looking forward to? Which ones do you think we will see soonest? Let me know down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.